Right, let's begin. So welcome to the first session with me for corporate law. So guys, to keep things short, we are going to directly jump into the well. So when I say that, what I'm trying to focus is we are directly going to address how we are going to get through this paper, the corporate law and business law. So what I would expect from y'all, so when it comes to a TRG session, so how we are going to practice the revisions or the theories we are going to do in a manner where while practicing questions, we are going to learn all the theoretical aspects as well. So that's how we are going to clear all these things. And from my side, there won't be any individual chapters where I will take you through focus on this, focus on that, not like that. Because when it comes to law, you need to understand all parts of it and make sure how the questions are asked and are you ready for the questions. So from there, we can see how well we are going to focus. So prior starting, I would like to talk about your exam structure. So your exam structure, you'll be getting section A and you'll be getting section B. So there are 45 questions, which everything is compulsory here. Okay. So these are multiple choice questions. And you got a section B where you got 5 questions, and those are multiple task questions mostly, but you'll get only 2 hours to answer, and your pass mark is 50%. Okay. So how we are going to win this race is the next thing that we are going to focus. So the first day, I just wanted to understand where you guys are standing, how much you all have revised, because I don't know where. I mean, some of you all would have followed the law classes with me. Some of all would have followed some with someone else. So we need to understand where we are standing. So for that, what we are going to do is the practice that I'm always keeping in my TRG sessions is, so we are going to discuss a few mock papers in the class. So when it comes to the mock papers, we are completely going to finish it off and discussing on all the areas of the questions. Then how we are going to discuss this paper. First, we will be going through, there are 45 questions on the section A. So initially we'll be answering the first 10. Okay. First 10 of section A, then one from section B. Likewise, the second phase, another 10 from section A, another task question. So likewise, we are going to answer these questions. Meanwhile, so it's not about me doing these questions. So first, I will give for you time for you all to do these questions and give me answers. Okay. So let's create some polls for MCQs and see where we are standing and why did we choose this answer. Okay. So let's go to the lesson directly. So the first question for the day is going to be from your first few areas. So let us create a poll. Before that, how many of you all have covered the syllabus? Those who have covered the syllabus, just drop me a message. How many have covered the syllabus, guys? Guys, have you covered the syllabus? Okay, Ashfa, have covered this. Should revise again. Okay, cool. Not yet. Few more to go. Okay, fine. Okay, no worries. That's not going to harm you all. Anyways, let's learn. Think that you all know this part and try to recall whatever you all have studied. Okay, and then we'll discuss these things. Okay, your first question. You can try the first question and then we discuss it. Okay. you are done with the first one, you can answer the second one as well. Let's discuss the first one. Now, see the first question. In which of the following courts do all the criminal cases begin? So they have given different types of courts: county court, magistrate court, crown court. What did you all choose, guys? Share your answer so that we can discuss. Yes, thank you. Good. Okay. Yes, as you're told, all the criminal cases begins with the magistrate. Okay. So all the criminal cases begins at the magistrate. So if the things are becoming more serious, okay, so if the case is becoming more serious, if you could not solve the problem in this court, then this will be pushed into what court? It will be pushed into crown. So in the crown court, you will deal some serious cases. So make sure if you feel these points are important, we can note it. Okay. So then, what do you mean by the county courts? County courts mean so they are dealing with the civil cases, right? So county courts means mostly dealing with the civil cases. Civil cases are dealt under the county courts. Okay. So that's a bit of explanation there. So the answer to this question will be magistrate court. So the criminal cases are begins with the magistrate court. If they are more serious, then that will be pushed to crown court, and civil cases are dealt at the county court. Right. The second one, it's an easy one. Joan holds 100 shares in a Box Limited. The directors of Box Limited have announced that she will be granted one share for every 5 shares that she holds. The share will be issued fully paid up. What is your choice? There's a choice, guys. Think that you got this question at your exam. I have already shared this tube with you all, so you all can practice it again. But note down the answers. So what is your option? What is it? No answer? I don't hear any noise from anyone. Good. Good. A bonus issue. Okay, fine. What is a bonus issue? Bonus issue means you're providing free shares to your existing shareholders. So bonus issue means you're providing free shares to the existing shareholders. So that is bonus issue. So then what do you mean by right issue? So right issue means you are giving shares at a discounted price, isn't it? So if I ask a question from you all, can you discount a share at its par value or its market value? At what price you can discount? Can I discount at par value? Cannot, guys. You need to be interactive. Okay, then only it will be interesting. Otherwise, I can directly give you the answers and more. So it will be boring for you also. Okay, so we have to learn here. This is how we need to revise. Otherwise, what will happen is you guys just remember topic wise and you try to load all your theories into your head. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So when you try to, yes, good, very good. Yes. And it's a criminal offense if you discount at your par value. Got it. So always you need to discount your shares at your market value, good market value or fair value, whatever the way that you call it. That's good. So special issue, capital issue, those are not related to these issues. That's not allotment of shares. Those are separate issues. Okay, fine. So these are little easy questions. So you can parallelly mark your answers. If not, you can note down all these answers and later you can try this paper again. Okay. So try the third and the fourth now. So if you want to share me the answers, you can say 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it has not been numbered. So you can say 1, 2, 3 in that way. No need to type just in case if for these things you can type short ones, but these ones you can say 1, 2, 3. Right. The third one, in the context of sources of law, what is a statutory instrument? You need to understand what is a statutory instrument. A tool used by Parliament in the process of developing a primary legislation, a form of delegated legislation that allows ministerial powers to be exercised, a right granted by UK human rights legislation to strike out secondary legislation. So, a statutory instrument means it is an instrument which give powers, okay, for you to transfer authority, for you to delegate authority. So it is a form of delegated legislation that allows ministerial powers to be exercised. So this statutory instrument is actually passed through Parliament. So in the Parliament, ministers get their authority, they get their power through this instrument. This is where they state what sort of power that they have, what sort of authority that they have, and how well they can spread their arms. Okay. So those things are discussed. So delegation means you are giving it down, you're pushing down, you're passing it down. Okay. Right. The fourth one, which of the following is an indication that a person is self-employed rather than an employee? So which supports self-employment? The person has the ability to delegate work to others. The person is paid a salary. But if you are getting a salary, you are an employee. The person is told how they should perform their job. So that is also reflecting or supporting to be an employee. The person has their tools provided to them. So the person has their work tools provided to them. So work tools is provided to you means you are an employee. Your employer has provided to you. So you should have the ability to delegate work to others, which supports more in this case to determine that you are self-employed. That's fifth and the sixth one. So just now what you need to do before you come to the next class is, I hope, I don't know whether you all have made summaries. Okay. So if you are in my theoretical class, after each and every chapter, you need to make a summary. So when you join this session, before you join the session, at least you can just roughly browse your summaries of each chapter so that you understand the main points and then you make your decision. Okay, let's discuss the fifth one. Which of the following is a condition that must be met in order for a principal to ratify the actions of an agent? Ratification must occur immediately after the contract is formed. Ratification must be agreed with a third party. The principal must have exercised when the contract was formed. So technically, to ratify the contract, the first and foremost thing, the principle must have existed when it was formed. That's the first thing. And the ratification must be taken place within a reasonable period of time, not immediately. It should form within a reasonable period of time. And you need to make sure that the ratification must be communicated to the third party. It is not agreed, it should be communicated to the third party. Now, sometimes the agreement to the ratification is not required. So, whether you agree or not, that is not important. So, technically, you can say to ratify the contract. Let me also draft for you. To ratify the contract, principle should exist. Then it should take place in a reasonable period of time. And you need to make sure it is communicated to the third party. So these are the conditions that you need to fulfill. Okay, fine. The next one, what is the minimum notice period that a person who has been employed for 18 months is entitled to 18 months means 1.5 years. So if a person is employed between 1 month and 2 years, they are entitled to 1 week of notice. How many week of notice? 1 week of notice. So technically, if you are employed for 1 month to 2 years. Okay, so if you are technically employed to 1 month to 2 years, you need to give 1 week of notice. So this person is serving only 18 months. So it is less than 2 years. So it's going to be 1 week of time. Fine. Try the seventh one and eighth one. Right, the seventh one. In the event of unlimited liability partnership being terminated, which of the following liabilities are repaid next once all the external debts have been settled? So once all the external debts has been settled, you need to make sure you settle your partner's loan before you repay their capital contributions and the share of profits. Because these loans are provided to the organization separately, not as a part of their investment. These are provided as loans. So once you settle all your external debts, the next debt that you need to focus is your partner's loan. So then they're asking then in the next question, a declaration of solvency is required to commence which of the following? A declaration of solvency is only required at when you are going for a member's voluntary liquidation. In all the other liquidation process, you don't want a declaration of solvency. So if you are voluntarily deciding that you need to close down your business, then we need a declaration of solvency. You need to prove that your business is not solvent. Okay. But in all the other cases, it is not. In a creditor's voluntary liquidation, you don't want to provide a declaration of solvency. A company's liquidation, compulsory liquidation situation also, you don't want to provide one. And if it is an administration process, of course, it is also not. So only when the declaration of solvency is applicable when a member's voluntary liquidation is required. Try the ninth and 10th. Let's discuss which of the following is a ground for disqualifying a director under Model Articles of Association. Breach of a fiduciary duty, failure to meet a statutory duty, breaking the terms of the service contract. All these three are not told being a disqualifying for a director in accordance with model articles. If you are becoming bankrupt, then this the ground for disqualifying a director is being mentioned in the model articles. So out of the options, only becoming bankrupt is a ground of disqualifying a company director under the model articles. Okay. So the others are not. So here you have to particularly focus in the grounds or in the terms of model articles. Then they are asking in the next question, which of the following companies qualify for exemption from audit? So public companies, it is a must. Public companies are never exempt. Okay. So that needs to be audited always. But a private company will be exempted if they have a turnover less than 10.2 million, not 11, less than 10.2 million and a balance sheet total of 5.1 million. Balance sheet total of how much? 5.1 million. So a dormant company are the company who is exempt from audit. Dormant companies are exempt for audit, but private company will become exempt if your turnover is 10.2 million, less than 10.2 million, and if your balance sheet total is less than minimum, you should have 5.2 million, which is also a less figure. Fine. So we did the first 10. It's good. So it's a good startup. Everyone got good answers. So now let's see how a task question is tested. So what I'll do is, let me duplicate this page. I'll give you all some time since this is your first question. See how well you all can answer this. So you got only two factors. The second requirement is here. Okay. So maximum I can. Yeah. In the second page, now this is the first. This is the scenario. Okay. I'll give you all 10 minutes. Now it's 7:03. By 7:30, let's discuss. Read the scenario and try to get the answers. Okay. So here you got four things. Read it very carefully. 10 minutes is actually, I think it would be too much, but no worries, take 10 minutes. You even in the exam can take more than that, but I'm just giving you roughly 10 minutes. So read it very well and try to figure out the answer and make sure that is the answer. Okay. So your time starts now. So I hope you guys are done. So let's discuss. Adam, who operates an accountancy practice, charges £1,000 per year for producing business accounts for tax purposes. Unfortunately, he has some difficulty in recovering his fees from two of his clients as follows. So the first client is Bob, a car mechanic, told Adam that he could only raise cash to pay half of his fees, but that he would service Adam's car for the coming year. So Adam reluctantly agreed to this proposal. So both the clients are in difficulty to pay, but Bob is offering that he can pay half of that, and then he's also alternatively providing a service for Adam's car for the next year. So in the next client is Don, is not a very successful musician, also told Adam that she could only pay half of the money she owed him as she needed to use the other half to finance a new recording. Once again, Adam agreed to accept the half of the payment. Dawn's recording subsequently became a major hit, and she made a profit of £100,000 from it. Adam himself is now in financial difficulty. So yourself itself, you're in trouble. Adam himself is in trouble now, and he needs to get cash to pay his own tax bill. Okay. So let's see what examiner is asking from us. So the first question, which of the following statements concerning the agreement between Adam and Bob is correct? So now we need to look the yellow highlighted one. So which of the agreement or which of the transactions or whatever the statements that they have given is correct? Adam can require Bob to pay his balance in full if the value of the car servicing is less than the accountancy fees owed. The second statement, Adam can require Bob to pay his balance in full because the payment in kind is not a valid consideration. The third factor, Adam cannot require Bob to pay his balance in full because payment in kind is a valid consideration. And the fourth one, Adam cannot require to pay his balance in full because he is prevented by the unfair contract terms of the act. Guys, when it comes to remedy, when consideration has been paid, okay, a consideration needs to be sufficient, isn't it? Not adequate. So in this case, the best or the correct statement concerning to Adam's agreement with Bob would be Adam cannot require Bob to pay his balance in full because the payment in kind is a valid consideration. Okay. And also, I would like to say Adam agreed to accept Bob's servicing, right? So, whatever the servicing for his car as a payment in kind. But he may not recover any further from Bob. He can't recover anything from Bob because he's already agreed. And though you reluctantly agreed it or not, you have already agreed. So when it comes to payment does not needs to be 100%. It can be part of it. Okay. And also, you know the fact consideration should not be adequate. It needs to be sufficient at law. So in front of law, when you bring the case to the law will look at whether you are paying a sufficient amount or not. Okay. And also, in this case, they are mentioning about the Unfair Contract Terms Act. So it is not relevant to this case. So the ideal option or the correct option, the correct statement is option 3. Then the next one, in regards to Adam's agreement with Dawn, identify which of the statements are true or false. You need to be very careful. whether these things are true or false. The first thing, the doctrine of promissory estoppel does not apply. What is doctrine of promissory estoppel? Who can give me the definition for that? What is doctrine of promissory estoppel? So now you need to recall, now see, these are your theoretical areas. Okay, I got an answer. Let's see. When a promise is made, he cannot go back in his words. Okay, good. So this promise is not a legal promise. Though it is not a legal promise, so when a promise is made, it needs to be accepted. So in this instance, the doctrine of promissory estoppel does apply. It doesn't mean that does not apply. So this is a false step. It does apply. So you made a promise, so you can't go back in your words. Exactly. Adam can recover the part payment if he did not accept it voluntarily. Yes, that is true. So Adam can accept the part payment if he did not accept it voluntarily. Adam can recover the part payment if Don took an advantage of him financially. Is that true? Yes. If Don is misusing the promise, then Adam can recover the part payment. Don may be required to pay Adam in full because of the success of a recording, of course, right? Because Adam is already suffering to pay his tax bills. He waived off his tax, half of his fees of accounting work, stating that she is a musician, new recording. Okay. So in her new recording, she wanted to invest and she's making a big profit out of that new investment. So which means that now she is financially sound. So she may be required to pay Adam in full. So that is a true fact. Good. So this is your first case. Fine. I hope you would have cross-checked your answers. No worries. Now let's go to our second set from question number 11 and let's discuss another 10 and we'll come to the second one. Okay. Try to give the answer for 11th and 12th. Okay, the 11th one. How many days of holiday leave including bank holidays, an employee is entitled to get, they are entitled to get 28 days. Every employee is entitled to a minimum holiday leave of 28 days. So that's an easy direct question. Leah was recently dismissed from the employment. Okay. When her employee found out she was pregnant. So if you are dismissing an employee, if she's getting pregnant, that's not her fault, right? So which of the following types of dismissal of this example is it constructive? Is it a damage between your business contract? No. Is it a wrongful dismissal or it's an unfair dismissal? It is not wrongful, it is an unfair dismissal. If you dismiss anyone for getting pregnant, means that is unfair. Okay. So a wrongful dismissal occurs only when if insufficient notice is given to an employee. So wrongful means you are not giving him the sufficient notice period. A sufficient notice period is not provided. So a sufficient notice period is not provided means it's a wrongful dismissal. Okay. So constructive dismissal means what? So constructive dismissal occurs when an employee, okay, when an employer repudiates an essential term of the contract. So when he repudiates uh, terms of the contract. So in this situation, it is an unfair dismissal. Okay, fine. Try 13 and 14. Right. The next one, in the context of contract law, what is the effect of a counter offer on the original offer? So acceptance of the original offer as it stands, is that means counter offer? No. Counter offer means you actually rejection of the original offer. So whatever original I'm saying it's $1,000, you are saying no, I'll give only 950. So that's a rejection of the original offer. I offered you at 100, but you are offering me a new price. Right. That's an easy one. 14th one. Holding companies may give creditors of their subsidiary companies a letter of comfort regarding the ability of the subsidiary to pay its debts. So what is the legal effect of a letter of comfort? They're asking us the legal effect. It is legally binding on the holding company only. It is legally binding on the subsidiary company only. It is a legally binding company on both holding and subsidiary company. It is not legally binding on holding and holding company and subsidiary company. Letter of comfort, yes, comment on you can comment on your subsidiary, but it does not mean that you are legally bound to say that your subsidiary's ability of repaying the debts, because subsidiary has its own action. You might have invested on them, but still there are some uncontrollable factors which is running the business operations. So in that ground, a letter of comfort is not a legally binding on the holding company or either the subsidiary company. Okay, it is not a legal document, but the holding company can give a letter of comfort just in case if it is required, but that is not a legal effect comfort. So in terms of law, you need to check from the eyes of law. So in the eyes of law, a letter of comfort is not a legally binding document over holding or the subsidiary company. So next one, try 15th and 16th. Okay, let's discuss the 15th one. In relation to the tort of negligence, which of the following describes the standard of care expected from an individual? A standard of care, it is expected from an individual. What a reasonable person would do in the circumstances. So you need to always judge a situation. What if a reasonable person would do in a circumstance? It's not a what can be a reasonably accepted from personally circumstances. No. What is a person actually capable of the circumstance or actually possible? No. Always you need in thought of negligence, you need to look for the reasonableness of the case. So what a reasonable person would have done in that situation. 16th one, what is the effect of voluntary non-fit injuria in the tort of law? So for this, you need to know. Okay. So the definition of voluntary non-fit injuria, I mean, it is a complete defense to an action in negligence. So you are defending yourself. Okay. So voluntary non-fit injuria is a complete defense to an action in negligence. Also, I would say if the defendant is not liable because the claimant voluntarily accepted the risk means risk of injury or loss. So defendant would not be liable. The claimant is accepting part of it. And also what do you mean by contributory negligence? Contributory negligence means the defendant and the claimant bears, it can be some portions of it. So let's assume it's my fault as well as your fault. So I bear 60% of it, you bear 40% of it. 17, 18, and 19. Do it together. Right. Bankruptcy cases are heard by which division of the High Court? Bankruptcy cases are mostly dealt in the Chancery Division. Family Division, you put all the family related cases. Okay. So in Queen's Bench Division, so you are mostly dealing with what sort of cases? The QBD, you deal with contract law cases. Okay. So it can be contract and any tort cases are dealt in the QB. You can say contract and tort cases. Right. In relation to the general rules of statutory interpretation, which of the following is the rule that states to express one thing by an implication to exclude another thing? So that's a definition you should know. That is expressio unius exclusia altris. So what is nosita assois means? So that means, take it down the definition for that as well. So I could say it is presumed that the words draw the meaning from those around them. So it's nosita assois means it is presumed that the words draw the meaning from those around them. So in pari materia means it's a part of a series, okay, that on a similar subject where the court may look into interpretations. Okay, so it's a similar subject thing. So before they interpret, they can, in pari materia means they look into a similar subject or a case. 19th one, which of the following contracts of the Consumer Rights Act apply to? So consumer right will apply whenever there is a case for the consumer. To supply commercial goods from one business to another, that is not a consumer, it's business to business. A contract made in relation to family law, it is family. A mobile contract from a telecommunications company to a private individual is a consumer. An employment contract. No. So the consumer rights will apply only to a consumer, not to anyone else. So have some techniques to determine certain answers. Then 20th one. So the screen share is in the previous. Okay, sorry. So I'll stop share and share it. You should have told me earlier. I don't see the screen now. Okay, thank you. So in negligence, what is the limit of defendant's liability for damages? The full losses can be incurred by the claimant. The losses that defendant could reasonably foresee, the amount of losses the defendant can afford to pay. So in negligence, when you're in negligence, what is the limit of the defendant's liability for damages? So defendant liability for damages is anything that he could reasonably foresee. If there is something reason, he can defend himself. Otherwise, he is not. He is liable for all the damages. Okay. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back in around 15 to 20 minutes time. Then I'll catch you from there. Okay. So once we are back, we can start, or you all can start the second one. But let's go for a break and come. Once you're back, start on this. Okay. So let's start in around 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes time. Yeah. So we keep it as 15 minutes. Yeah. The other requirements is on the other page. Okay, fine. So this is the question. So once you are back from the break, you can start. Now it is 7:40. Be back by 7:55. So I hope everyone is back. Try this question. Take 5 minutes and try it. Right. CDNF formed an ordinary partnership to run at an art gallery. Each of them paid £100,000 into the business. A, as if had no prospect of raising any more money, it was agreed between them at her maximum liability for a partnership debts would be fixed at her original contribution of £100,000. So that is for F. Okay, so her maximum contribution is £100,000. The partnership agreement specifically restricted the scope of the partnership business to sale of painting, sculptures, and other works of art. So in January, C took 10,000 from the partnership bank drawn on its overdraft facility. She told the bank that the money was to finance a short-term partnership debt, but in fact, she used the money to pay for a holiday. So in February, Ty entered into £25,000 contract on behalf of the partnership to buy some books and which she hoped to sell in the gallery. Okay, so the questions are, which of the following parties are liable to repay the overdraft created by J? So in a partnership, all the business profits and losses are collectively liable. Doesn't mean that who takes it. Okay, since each and every partners are mutually exclusive, they are collectively liable for this situation. It doesn't mean that who borrowed that only that person is liable. No, the entire partnership is liable. What? So in terms of law. So that is how this case is judged. Then, did Dai had any authority to purchase the books? Yes, Dai had the authority to purchase the books because she has the apparent authority. So because she is doing on behalf of the business, right? Because her motive is she's spending 25,000 pounds on a contract on behalf of the business to buy some books. So she's acting for the betterment of the partnership. So not to her self-interest. So in this instance, as a partner, she is having apparent authority, not actual. These are not expressed. You can't say that she has no authority, but she has the authority. But you can be corner me asking me a question. So there is a restriction here. The scope of the partnership is for sales, painting, and sculptures and other artwork. So that is the scope of the business, but still, as a partner, you have your authority to make decisions. So that authority needs to be used wise and for the betterment of the business. Then, which of the following statement above if liability for the partnership debts is correct? F has no liability for the partnership debts. F is only liable to the third parties up to £100,000. F is jointly liable for all partnership debts and cannot claim back any amount from C and D. F is jointly liable for all partnership debts but may claim back any amount she is liable over £100,000 from C and D. Yes. So the correct answer needs to be, since F is having an agreement, the maximum liability that she would bear is £100,000. So anything over that she needs to claim back from the partner C and D. But she is jointly liable. You can't say she's not liable. She's jointly liable for all the partnership debts, but her claim may be taken back from C and D because as per the agreement. Fine. That's all good. So guys, let's wind up this session for today. But because it's the first day, I want you all also to try the questions. I have sent the questions to you. So what you need to do is you got 3 more task questions. No worries, I'll discuss those questions and I'll give you the answers. But better you all try those questions at home, and you can start it from question number 21 to 45. Okay, so let's stop this session for today, and I'll see you all in the next session. So next session will be next Thursday. So I'll catch up you on next Thursday.